So is a catalytic converter and a DPF the same unit, and can you fix it? Well, the emissions control system on modern vehicles is really complicated. You've got catalytic converters, diesel particulate filters, and now selective catalytic reducers, SCRs. So we'll talk about the DPF. So what does it do, Mikey?
So a DPF is actually a filter on a diesel car, and this collects soot from the engine and actually reduces the emissions that are outputted through the vehicle.
So if you're wondering why we have them, strict controls were put on particulate matter. That's the unburnt black soot you see coming out of old diesel vehicles. So for around 2009, most diesel vehicles required this kind of device. So the vehicle's in the workshop and on the ramp, but how did it get there?
Well, we've really found that there's two common reasons for a vehicle to be on the ramp, either an engine warning light or it's gone into limpo mode. Now the first question I would ask with this is, why is it on the ramp? So we found usually if a car is between 80,000 miles and 100,000 miles, then this is a telltale sign that your DPF has actually come to the end of its life due to the regens taking place and of the ash build-up throughout the system.
Exactly, so it's going to be full of ash, but I'd look at the mileage because that's a key indicator, and if it's lower mileage, it's going to be blocked. So it's blocked with particulate matter, and that's that soot you can see inside this block unit here.
We actually have two failed DPF systems from a BMW 5 Series, so what's the difference?
Well, externally, they both look identical, so this is why diagnosis is really important. So inside this one, we can see that the unit is completely blocked. On this vehicle, there was a fault on the back pressure sensor, so that the system didn't know when it was full, and it completely clogged, leading to the engine warning light coming on, and eventually the vehicle came into the ramp and the workshop with a limp home mode. Whereas this DPF, whilst externally it looks pretty similar, when we've sectioned it, we can see that it's melted inside. That means the cores got up to around 1500 degrees centigrade, and it was an overfueling issue, again caused by a faulty sensor. There's two main reasons for blockage. It's all around temperature and a lack of ability to regen. So first of all, I'd be asking my vehicle owner and quizzing them about the driving style. If they're doing short journeys, they're not getting up to high exhaust gas temperature, it won't be going through that regen cycle. But if they're using the vehicle more normally and getting it up to temperature regularly, then something's probably gone wrong in the control of the regeneration cycle. One of the main things that can go wrong is the sensors that control the system. So here's an example from Mikey.
This is actually a pressure sensor that measures the pressure from the entry of the brick to the exit of the brick. And if this is lower, then it might kick in a regen process. If this regenerative process doesn't take place, then this could be due to the fact that it's actually a faulty pressure sensor.
Exactly. So as well as the DPF component itself being blocked or failing, really be sure to understand if there's a sensor issue, whether that's pressure sensors or temperature sensors, because these could be causing the issue itself. So when the vehicle's in the workshop and up on the ramp, what are the things we might want to look out for?
Well, after mileage, check the age.
So yeah, the age of the vehicle is one of the indicators, and also the brand of the vehicle. Look at the different technologies of catalytic converter, DPF, and later coming into SCR technology to understand what type of component you're dealing with. Some products and some brands have used a separate catalyst and DPF unit. Later models have combined the two, so the DPF brick is coated with catalytic coatings, and then we'll talk about in a later video the SCR technology using AdBlue. So in answer to the question, is a CAT and a DPF the same thing? No, they're different units typically on the vehicle, and as we said, be sure to diagnose the reason it failed before replacing it so the issue doesn't happen again. And if you're stuck, you can simply call the Klarius helpline and we can walk you through the process and help you to pick the right component for the vehicle.